Well, welcome back. And, this week I want to talk about what's going on in the industry for the real estate professionals that serve all the people buying and selling and renting out the houses right now, because it's for many uncharted waters. And when you think about the way that people enter into the real estate business, it typically is when things are going kind of good. And the fact is that more agents have joined in probably the last 3 years than for probably the 10 prior years combined. Got really big, really, really fast. And it was easier to sell homes because of the way the market was. People were buying properties well above the listing price, making multiple offers, and giving up anything along the way as far as inspections or other options that they might otherwise negotiate. Was all by the wayside. So it was probably about the easiest time in recorded history to get somebody to actually sign an offer. Not always easy to keep it under contract or get it under contract, multiple offers, but the salesmanship was different, is what I would say. You had to be available and fast. But if you're not fundamentally sound or highly skilled and highly trained, you might have done really, really well. And hopefully along that way, the agents were also educating and reinvesting in the craft. Sadly, I'm not sure that everybody did that. And the sales, well, they're slower this year. And that's for sure. And commission compression is a real thing. Overall commissions are lower than they were in the last couple of years, and there's less sales. So follow that there's less money to go around. And with inflation creeping in and expenses getting ever so higher and much more competitive, to actually find leads and to find people to work with, it's affecting a lot of agents in a tough way. We're already witnessing agents been in the business 5 or 10 years that go back to the ends of the financial crisis back in 08, 2010 time, exiting the business for 9-to-5 jobs, something a little bit more stable than the real estate business. And we also, and it's the big one, we see people have gotten in the last 3 years that don't understand the market that we're in. And how could they? They were born into the most amazing market in the history of real estate, where it was easy. And I do find it interesting, as I do a lot of consulting work, where we hear that we can't wait to get back to the normal market, being what happened the last 3 years. And, this just in the news this is the normal market. So let's play a game. Let me tell you a quick story and let you just understand how ridiculous the last few years have been. And let's just suppose that you were buying a house and you walked up to the person, let's say it's today or 20 years ago, it doesn't matter, says, I noticed that you want $300,000 for the house. We'll just take it. Couple conditions though. I don't want any inspections. And I know it probably needs some repairs, but I'm not going to inspect anything. And you know what? You don't have to even fix anything. And even if the appraisal comes in lower than $300,000, doesn't matter. I'll still take it. It doesn't matter if the bank thinks it's worth $250. I'll just take it. So I'm not going to do any inspections. I'm not going to do any appraisals. And since you're a good person, instead of 300, let's just make it 325. And when it comes time to move out, take all the time that you want, 2 months, 3 months. You could live there rent-free in your own home. And when you get out, whenever that is, then I'll move in. Now, it sounds ridiculous, except for that's what's been going on the last few years. And a lot of these things have been strategies to help people find the house they want to be in a low inventory market. I'm not saying the strategies are bad, but when you hear it out loud, it does sound a little crazy. So now, 2023 rolls around, and there's less properties being purchased. It's just a fact. There are. The bottom of the market was most likely November of 2022, and the lower numbers of closings in January and February are just a result of the bottom of the market. It takes deals 30, 60, 90 days to close. So if the end of 22 was the bottom of the market, then we should have less sales in this market. So many agents barely sold anything in the fourth quarter of 2022 with a slow start to this year. Some agents have gone 6-8 months without a closing. Really hard to pay your bills, earn a living, and take care of yourself and your family with no income. Many agents have blown through tons of savings, maybe gone into the credit card place or borrowed some money with installment loans. No one's immune to this. The market has changed dramatically, and when sales are off by many markets, 40%, something has to give. And now we're finding as a number of agents, veteran agents, been really good to probably stash some cash the last few years, are tapping into that. And it's the slippery slope, and it's worrisome. I'm reinvesting back into the business, but not for education and growth, just to stay in business. And it leads many to question right now, should I be doing that? Should I just get out of the business? Or should I hang out a little bit longer and maybe write a check and then another check to stay in business, and maybe the sales are coming in, but I don't want to give this thing up? That's what a lot of agents and sales professionals are going through right now. And it's not just real estate, because if you're in the related industries of the mortgage industry or maybe the title closing industry, this is also affecting things. Insurance is impacted to a degree on this because of the changes in the market. Not so sure about the rental markets. I think investors are still out there purchasing property and renting it out. I think that those businesses are somewhat insulated, not necessarily 100%, but different. Commercial, that could be a trouble spot. We hear so many rumblings in the commercial market about where that dip could occur. And at this point, with vacancies such that they are, there could be some weakness in the commercial market. But let's not suggest that a weakness in the commercial market is necessarily going to cause a weakness in the real estate market. In our area, despite lower sales and higher interest rates and higher inflation and less people purchasing, prices still inched up. In the first quarter, they were up almost a couple percent over the year before, despite sales being down 35, 40%. So we can call it a statistical anomaly. We can. But the fact is that prices continue to inch forward because a cash buyer is not necessarily affected by interest rates. And for people that are coming to Florida for their own reasons, so let's just say the weather for now, they continue to come. So this market has been more resistant, more resilient than perhaps other markets across the country where they're feeling a little bit more. But I can assure you that the agent population helping move these transactions forward with less to go around and a lot of agents out there, something will give. Agents will exit the business and right-size itself. And there's really good agents leaving the business, and there's some that are maybe not as good or still in it. That's every market, though. Then that doesn't change. When people ask me which agents are staying and which are going, I think for the most part, the top 10% are staying. The bottom 50% are probably also staying, and here's why. In most markets, half the agents sell 1 or 0 homes. This is most markets across the country. And it's like, well, wouldn't they be the ones exiting? Oh, not really. They're playing the lottery. They pay their board dues, $1,000 a year. And if they can sell a house every 5 years, the commission probably pays for it. So they're just banking that, hey, as long as I sell a home every 3, 4, 5 years, I'll at least break even. And then if I want to buy a house, I can make commission on the house that I buy. And so I don't think that the bottom 50% are leaving. The top 10, maybe 20% are probably staying as well. It's that middle, not middle, but I'd say if you're between 21 and 50% in the market, as far as sales, those are probably the most dangerous places to be right now, because you're surviving on less transactions, less commissions with each transaction, and you're most likely full-time. So the highly successful full-timers, probably above the fold on this one. And the far less successful part-timers who are just staying to do a deal every few years, they'll probably just keep the dues paid and stay in real estate. It's that 30% that's really most affected in this market. And I think that's what the transactions are going to come and go from. So as those exit there hypothetically is a few more to be spread around. Those that remain, it's likely pushing towards that top 10%, maybe top 20%, which will likely see the market share that comes out of that. And that's very polarizing. And I think what you'll see ongoing is that the real estate teams, the mega teams, the super teams will continue to add more agents because they have the resources and the ability to keep their agents busy and to have all of the services that the consumers become very accustomed to, whether it's the transaction, contract to close management, maybe it's the benefits of concierge or inside sales, setting up searches that last for a couple of years. and all the marketing pieces that have just become extremely difficult for a single agent to keep up with the proliferation of social media webs and videos. It's so much for one agent to keep up with that they have a lot of fight, a lot of spirit, but the hustle, it's hard. And I think that you will continue to see teams getting larger and more effective and making it more difficult on the individual agent. So I want to give you a little perspective on what's going on if you're in the market, you're feeling this most likely. And if you're selecting an agent right now, more than ever, checking reviews and going online and seeing their signs of success in the video work that they're putting out there in their website, it's going to give you the confidence to choose the right agent in this market to meet your needs, while also helping you know that there's some pain out there among the people that are helping people buy and sell in this market. And there's even a little commission breath out there because some people are gripping really hard because it's been a minute since they've had a sale. They might press a little bit harder and differently than they might have in other markets at other times. And the easy breezy experience that you might have had with an agent a couple of years ago might feel a little bit different because they might be pressing just a little bit due to a lack of sales or financial pressure. And I want to just bring some light to this. And it's not to take a side. Is to just present the news as it is and the changes happening in the market from the people serving real estate buyers, sellers, investors. And it's likely to get a little tougher before it gets easier. I spoke to an agent this morning, a team lead out of the D.C. area, and his projections of this might be hanging around for another 12 to 18 months or 2 years. I'm like, yeah, it probably is. So the new market that we're in is actually the old market. It's the balanced market that's on the horizon. It's just a weird anomaly that we have so low of inventory, maybe a couple of months, not the 6 months that would represent a balanced market between buyers and sellers. We're a long way from that. So we're going to see things that seem a little unnatural or not necessarily normal in the weeks and months ahead. So if you've got questions about this or this shed a little bit of light on things, we'd definitely love the feedback on this. And I appreciate all the subscriptions that are coming in right now because this is helping us guide these messages on a weekly basis to things that will help you in real estate. Hope you enjoyed this week. This is Ron Wysokarski for the Black Hole of Real Estate.